Hi everybody, this is Bill from TurboDial with a short video on how to leave a voice message. Before we get into that, let's just think about what percent of your phone calls during a phone campaign reach a voicemail system. As I ask people about this, I hear numbers usually 50% or greater. That begs the question then, what do you do when you get that voicemail? Do you hang up? Do you read something from a script? And who knows what that will sound like after your 10th or 20th voicemail for the day? Or do you just ad-lib on the spot and maybe leave a different message every time? In the old way before TurboDial, leaving a voicemail was time-consuming. With TurboDial, leaving a voice message is really quick. Before TurboDial, it was actually hard to leave a good message every time. With TurboDial, you can perfect that message once and then reuse it many times, and you get it right every time. Before TurboDial, it's tedious to manually add a note indicating that you left a message. But with TurboDial, a note is left automatically for you, indicating that a message was left. Before TurboDial, phone campaigns actually became low priority because you know that 50% of those calls are going to end in a voicemail. But with TurboDial, phone campaigns are now high priority because they take less of your time and they get you better results. Okay, let's demonstrate the leave message capabilities on TurboDial. Here we have a TurboDial window right next to an Infusionsoft contact listing. And on the TurboDial window, you'll see there is a recorded message section. With that section is a selector where you can choose a message. You can see there's only one right there for now, but we'll fix that in a minute. This is where you choose the message that's going to be played back when you press the message button on the TurboDial panel. Also, there's a button so that you can play back and listen to the message you've selected, a button to configure that message, and another button for adding more messages. Now, before we go ahead and add a message, let's go back and talk for a minute about recording voice messages and how you get set up for that. You can record your messages using either a PC and a headset or one of your phones. Now, you can use the calling device selector to make that choice, whether you're going to record from this PC or from one of your calling devices. If you choose a PC and headset, it's really important to use a good headset with a good microphone. USB headsets are usually best. You want to ensure your PC is not busy doing something in the background. And, often I have found where my PC is getting hot, and what I've discovered is that there's a tab on my browser that's playing a video advertisement from some website. You want to shut all that down so that you don't have any contention for processor on your PC. And you want to make sure your internet connection is operating well. If you've got anybody watching Netflix in the next room and downloading movies or large files, you may want to stop that so that you have a good internet connection. When a message is recorded, it is initially owned by the user who creates it. I say initially because the account owner of TurboDial can come in and change ownership of messages. When that message is recorded initially, it defaults to private, and only the user who owns it or the account owner can see it and use it and configure it. So you can modify voice message recordings. The user that created it can rename it and they can delete it. The TurboDial account owner can rename it, they can delete it, and they can make any message public so that any user in the account can use it, and they can change the ownership of any message. I'm going to demonstrate those things in a minute. So now let's go back in TurboDial and let's actually create a new message. We have one here right now that's called Spring Special. Let's add another one to the account. And I'm going to, first of all, choose the calling device I want to record from. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to use this PC, but I could use one of my phones. If I had chosen a phone, it would first of all call that phone. As soon as I press the plus button, it would call that phone, and I would be able to make the recording from that phone. But let's choose this PC. I'm going to press the record now. Okay, so now I'm recording a message. Our messages should be very natural sounding. That's what makes the best message usually. They should be unscripted, they should be friendly and clear, and they should be quick as possible, because you can't make someone hang on for a voice message for a long time. But get your call to action in there and encourage them to get back to you or take the next step that you desire. Press the pound key to end. Okay, so now I have that recording stored right here. And notice it's named according to the date, month, day of month, year, and the number of seconds for the duration for that recording. If I go back to the Spring Special for a minute and I click the Configure button, you can see this new window drops down that shows me some information about that voice recording, but there's nothing for me really to configure since I'm not the owner. It's owned by somebody else. I can see what the duration is. I can see the date that it was created. If I go to the message I just recorded and click that, There's more information here. You can see I can change the name, and let's do that right now. Let's call it the Fall Special. I could also, if I wanted to, just delete this recording by checking that box and pressing the update button. But I don't want to delete it, so I'm just going to update it and change that name. That worked. I'm going to close this, and now you can see it's named Fall Special. Now, if I were the account owner, the options I have will be different. I made some changes to be able to demonstrate that. Now when I click the Configure button, you can see that as the account owner, I can also change who's the owner of this message by updating that field. And I also have a switch for configuring whether this message is visible to all users or only visible to the creator and the account owner. Now let's talk about leaving a voice message. Leaving a voice message works for any kind of call. When you call from your PC or from a phone, using a non-recorded call or a recorded call, or an auto dial call, any call that you can make with turboDial, you could choose to leave a voice message using the Leave Voice Message feature. In order to do this, what you do is when you're calling, before you hear your beep, once you've detected that an answer machine is picking up and is going to answer this call, select the message you want to leave for the person that you've just called. And then when you hear the beep, immediately press the Leave Message button. Note that the call note that gets left behind by turboDial for this call will include a note title that includes left message in the title, and it will also include in the custom fields, if you've configured them, a link to the recording that you've left. Let's go back and give an example of leaving a message for someone. I'm going to call this number, and I'm going to leave the Fall Special message. So let's call it.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Okay. I press the message button. The message is being played right now onto that voicemail, and I'm back where I can now make another call or go on to the next activity I have. Now, an important thing is, what about the results of this call? Notice that your dashboard can easily include a report that includes the number of messages you left in a certain interval of time. And if I go and look at the actual note that is left on my contact records, here I can see the note. It has in the title the suffix of left message, so that's easy to find, and when I create notes reports, I can use that as a saved search. And if I look at my call data, I can actually listen to the recording that I left for that person during that call. So that's everything you need to know about leaving a voicemail message for somebody. It's a significant way of improving the efficiency of your calling campaigns, and I can't wait to hear your feedback on how it's working for you. Okay, happy phone calling, everybody. Thanks.